Hey, folks, I'm going to introduce you to Paul Duddy. Paul and I have been friends for almost 30 years. We worked together at Milton Mowbray when I first got to know him in 1997. He's been a top hand and a competitor, and he's a well-known farrier. You guys are going to really enjoy getting to hear his Irish accent and hear a little bit about his life and his world. Thank you very much for listening. We're cleared for takeoff. Hey, babe. Here goes my producer.
There she goes.
Well, everybody, I have been looking forward to this and waiting for this. A long-time friend that I've known since 1997, Mr. Paul Duddy. Thank you.
Very welcome, Chris, and thanks for having me at your beautiful home.
Well, thanks for coming.
That's fantastic, yeah.
So, a real quick history. If you guys have read my first memoir, which is For the Want of a Nail, The Shoe Was Lost.
Right.
I tell the story of 12 men that were impactful in my journey. And I was hoping to get them all on podcast, but some have passed before I could do that. But you were one of my top 12.
Well, it was, and I was really, really surprised, actually, because I didn't think I'd made that much of an impression on you. But it was really, really nice of you to put me in there. And I remember at the time, we had a lot of fun.
We had a lot of, we did have a lot of fun.
We did have a lot of fun. We hit it off.
Yes.
Didn't we? We really did.
Yes. Like
Yeah.
we were close friends within a few
Yeah.
days.
Yeah.
And every time I see you, we just pick up like
Yeah.
we've been hanging out, even though we look a lot different.
Yeah. Well, you look more different now because you lost all your hair, but you had hair back then.
I had hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't have a mustache back then.
You didn't have a mustache.
Yeah.
No.
So I shaved my mustache for a few years.
Yeah.
You know, when I first grew it, I was just out of the Army.
Yeah.
I didn't have to, I could have a mustache.
Yeah.
1995, and this horse pawed me in the face.
Yeah.
Broke a bunch of teeth, knocked some teeth back.
Right.
And when they stitched up my lip, I ended up growing a mustache.
Right.
Well, that became my thing. And Kelly got irritated when I was chewing on it.
Mm.
And so
Yeah.
I had hair. She would give me a haircut, and she just had to trim my mustache. She made me 10 hairs per side.
Right.
So I just shaved it, and I went without a mustache for a couple years in there. But
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, things have, was it 20 years? Is it
no, we're 29.
29 years since
1997.
since that time? My God.
Did you go to Calgary in 96?
94, 96, 98.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I might have met you there, but I don't remember it.
Yeah.
But we were thrust together at the Army School of Farrier.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. And it was, I don't think there was that many on the course.
No, it was you and me.
Yeah. It was just two of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now there were a bunch of soldiers
Yeah.
that were doing stuff, but
Yeah.
I think that they were thrown in just for the heck of it.
Yeah.
But you and I were actually
Yeah.
like doing the course.
Right. And I think we had Steve Casey, we had Danny Bennett, and Danny was a really good shoer.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
You know he's a podcaster now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
A really good one.
Yeah. He's really good. And of course, Sergeant Ivan Bell.
Dinger.
And Dinger Bell, he was quite the character.
He
wasn't
was.
He was quite the character. Hey? But he enjoyed a story, and
You know, he was like extreme in every aspect.
yeah,
So he was an extreme farrier. He was an
Yeah.
extreme soldier.
yeah, that's right.
He loved his dog,
Yeah.
Cedar. Cedar
Yeah.
was a dog's name.
Yeah,
And he just, he was hard, though. He's a hard man.
he was. And he came to work at the Irish School of Farrier in Kildare
Oh, yeah.
for many years.
After this.
Yeah, long after that.
So did you know him there?
I didn't know him there. I met him there, but I didn't work there. But yeah, he was the head farrier there for quite a few years. you
Oh,
know.
wow.
Yeah.
But he wasn't Irish, was he?
No.
So-
he was an English. He was an Englishman.
And he had the Special Forces soldier background prior to becoming the Sergeant Major at Farrier.
Absolutely.
So-
He was a soldier first.
Right. And he brought that to the school.
Right. And you remember we had to do every month. It was like being in the army.
It really was. Which I was
Because-
all right with that.
Yeah. You were used to that, but I wasn't. So the minute we arrived, we lit the fires, and then it was a 20-minute roadster
Every day.
every day, and that really got you going.
It did. And he made everybody do it. Even
He made everybody do it, whether you could do it or not. You did it.
Well, what was the? No, I thought it was a forced deal for the soldiers. No, I thought it was a forced deal for the soldiers. Nick Lane, remember Nick? He was
Yes,
he was just a clerk.
He didn't do it. No, Nick didn't do anything, only smoke his pipe.
Oh yeah,
Nick wouldn't even get under a horse.
no.
Nick was a bit lazy. I think Nick's well retired now.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
He's hunting. He's doing what he loves.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good luck to Nick.
Well, and unfortunately, Ivan's no longer with us, and and a tragedy that happens to a lot of farriers.
Yeah.
Why do you think so many farriers take their lives?
Well, that's a good question, Chris. I think it's not just farriers. I think it's men don't know how to communicate when it comes to depression and and how they're feeling. I think we're expected to, as men, buck up and just be brave and stand firm. Whereas women tend to be more emotional and they share things with one another and they'll get it out there. But men, that's a sign of weakness, and it's seen to be a sign of weakness. But actually, it's like anything. Men should just talk the same way as women do when it comes to their mental health. It's really important. And I think it's men generally, not just farriers.
Yeah, I suppose. I guess I don't know what the number of CPAs or the number of taxi drivers, that take their lives.
Yeah.
But it seems like I've known so many farriers that actually were maybe close friends.
Yeah.
So my striker for both my AW and my FW is Steve Casey.
Right.
And same story.
Same story.
And then Steve Hayes, a farrier of incredible skill.
That's right. I remember Steve,
Yeah.
And a real nice lad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Very skillful.
very skillful.
Very skillful.
And Steve was very skillful. And Ivan was extremely skillful.
Yeah, they were, yeah. Well, Ivan, I don't know what illness he had, but he got sick and he knew he wasn't going to get better. And I think that was one of the main reasons why he took his own life,
Yeah, so he already had a cancer diagnosis and decided to.
Yeah. Well, I don't know even if it was cancer. I'm sure it was something like that. Something serious anyway, yeah.
There was a really nice farrier in South Africa, and he had watched his brother die of a brain tumor.
Right.
And the personality changes and stuff and went through that. Right. And then he got diagnosed with brain tumor, so he took his own life before he.
Yeah, I guess maybe some people don't want to suffer.
I suppose.
But you leave people behind you. And all my friends have said, "You're going to America?" And I said, "Yeah." And why are you going there? Well, I'm going out to a friend. You going yourself? Because the Irish like to travel together and go with somebody and share the experience. I said, but I know loads of people out there. So whenever I get there, I'll be part of that family.
Right.
And that's what it's like. I know whenever I go to that, hoof summit that I can talk to strangers because I'm on the same page.
Right.
And we can make friends.
You have that farriery in common,
Yeah.
even if you don't share political, religious,
So, doesn't
even
matter.
economic status.
Yeah. And so, and it's nice to hear other people's stories. And we have basically the same stories.
Right.
We have the same problems.
Yep.
We're not getting paid enough. We're getting kicked by horses. That client did this, did that, blah, blah. So it's the same sort of, yeah, I get you, man. You want a beer?
There is
You know
that,
what I mean?
huh?
Yeah.
All we do is talk about horseshoeing, huh?
Just making shoes. We just talked about horseshoeing, the type of feet that we were shoeing there, because
Yep.
we were both caught out with those feet.
Oh, yeah.
The soldiers warned us about them.
So, those feet have massive frogs, and the
Yeah.
frogs come way behind the heel.
Right.
The feet are flat as can be and spread out.
Right.
And the bars are rolled over and crushed. And
Yeah.
I'd never dealt with that at all.
Yeah. So the breed, I think it's thoroughbred, part Irish draft.
Right.
That's where it comes from. They're Irish, but they're worked on the road.
I couldn't get them flat. My first
No.
few days,
Yeah.
Ivan was. He was looking at me like, "Are you sure you're taking an AW? You're not just trying
Yeah.
to get into your school, are you? Just
Yeah. So the reason why there were these big prolapse frogs is because they were working on the road all the time,
Sure.
and then that frog is trying to hit the ground.
Yes. Yeah,
It's
the
trying
foot's
to
collapsing.
function, and so you're having to. I remember you were trying to use your rasp, and because you're used to going across the foot,
Yes.
you had to go down and across. And
Oh,
up.
yeah, and around.
Yeah,
It was-
and around it. Yeah.
So I was getting spirals and I was dishing
Yeah.
quarters, and
Yeah.
I felt for the first 3 days, I really felt like I had just started.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, you were putting into, it was good. You were put in somewhere that you weren't familiar with, and that's always good anyway.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, put
Yeah.
yourself outside the comfort zone, so to speak. You know,
And I couldn't afford to be there, and I couldn't afford to do what I was doing. But I felt it was very important for the school.
yeah,
And luckily, Kelly is the most supportive woman you ever met.
Yeah.
And so she allowed me to take that journey, and I was there for a month.
right,
And I spent a month getting ready for the AW.
right.
And luckily, I passed the whole thing the first time.
First time.
And the theory, I was all right.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I had 27 handwritten pages and 5 pages of diagram
Right.
on my written exam, and
Okay.
it scored really, really well.
Good.
But shoeing wise, they gave me a pair of straight bars with a toe clip as for ride and drive, and I mean, it was just such a gift.
Yeah.
It was just what I needed.
Yeah.
You didn't take your test with me at that time. You
I didn't
went back
take
to
it-
Ireland.
I went home, and I was intending to do it the following year, and then my mother got ill, and I was going back to the college. I was going back to the school for another week's course with a view to sitting the exam at the end of it.
Right?
So I'd signed up, everything was good, and my mother got ill, and she'd been in hospital for some time. And I actually said to her on her deathbed, I said, Mum, and we didn't know she was going to die. We thought she was sick, but we didn't know she was going to die. And I said, Mother, I'm going to be going to England. I don't know if I should go or not. She said, Paul, go and do your thing. Go and do your exam or whatever it is you're doing. I'll be okay. And when I was there, first night, second night, she died.
Oh, while you were in the middle of the exam?
While I was doing the course.
Okay.
You know.
So did you go back home then?
So I had to go straight back home. I found out at 2:00 in the morning she died. So I had to wait till the next day, and one of the army Farriers, forget who it was now, but he ran me all the way to the airport so I could get on a plane quick, and I was so appreciative of that.
Yeah, yeah.
It's funny how you deal with bereavement at that particular point. I was in sort of shock, and I only waited because our family are very close. So I waited till I got home before I could grieve.
Oh, really?
But yeah. So I was focused on getting home, but I couldn't do anything about the grief because I was so focused about just trying to get from A to B.
Yeah, yeah.
And then when I got home, then I met everybody was in the house, everybody was there, and of course Irish wakes are, they're very comforting. Because all your friends and family are there, and people that my mother knew or the person knows, they're all coming round to the house. When it's everybody's drinking tea and telling stories about the dead person, and so it was really comforting to have that whenever I arrived.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was a sad time because my father died whenever I was just turned 16.
Okay, well, let's talk about that a little
Yeah.
bit. You're a 5th generation Farrier.
Yeah, as from what I know, yeah.
Okay.
It could be a lot longer than that.
Oh, really?
Yes, it
so,
could be.
So like basically guaranteed 5th generation,
Yes.
but there's a potential at 6 or 7
Oh
or 8.
yeah, easily. And
And-
the reason for that is because back at pre 1900s, there was no formal education for farriers or any trade. So trades were handed down from generation to generation, and there were trade secrets that were kept secret. And so the likelihood is that my great grandfather was taught his trade by someone in the family. So it probably goes back further than five generations.
Okay.
You know?
And you have a picture of your grandfather, your uncle, and your father.
Yeah,
But your father died before you got to actually shoe with him.
that's correct. Although I did spend when I was still at school, secondary school, I would every evening after school I would go down to the forge.
And was it right there at the house?
And I would just hang out. No, I had to go a couple of miles, walk a couple of miles to the forge.
And did the horses at that time come to the forge?
Come to the forge.
Okay.
So my father didn't drive a car.
No.
So he's very Victorian in his way of thinking, so he's quite old-fashioned. And he would just stay in the forge, and people would call. And if he wasn't in the forge, I'd be in the forge, so I'd be taking the phone calls.
And so you were born in 63?
64.
64. And so at this point, was this 1975?
I was 11. I when he died in 1980.
Right. But at this point where you're doing this,
Yeah, about 1975.
all right,
Yeah.
and your dad didn't drive.
He didn't drive. No, and he walked to work every day. He got up, he lit the fire in the house, and he went straight to work. And he was at work every day for 8 o'clock. And when he finished, locked up the forge, came home 6 o'clock, and he walked. That was his routine.
And what did he die of?
He died of motor neuron disease.
What is that?
It's a condition that attacks the motor nerves in your body.
My.
And
So is it like Lou Gehrig's or something?
And it's getting more common.
Oh, really? Is
Yeah.
it Lou Gehrig's or ALS or any of that, or is it its own disease?
It's neurological.
okay.
Yeah, it's a neurological disease. And basically what it does is it can attack, I think it starts in your brain.
Oh man.
Yeah, because it affects your speech. And then it moves down and
So did he suffer a long time?
It didn't suffer for very long, thank God, but you know, people with MS can have it for years and years.
Is that what he had?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
No, sorry, motor neuron disease. Yeah, not
And is
MS.
that-
MS is different.
Okay.
That's a different thing. But
it's similar.
Motor neuron. Yeah.
Is MS similar?
MS is
Muscular.
another motor skills thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Multiple sclerosis. Yeah.
Right.
It's another motor skills thing, but it's a different type of disease.
So did you guys didn't even own a car?
No.
I'll be dang.
No.
In 1980, you didn't
we
own
didn't
a
even
car.
we didn't even own a house.
Wow.
We rented a house. You know, we were you know, a normal working for Ireland at that time. We were a normal working class family.
That was standard.
That was kind of standard. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Not many people had cars.
And did you have a lot of close friends, like kids your age that were into horses?
No, not at all. No,
Okay.
we were blacksmiths. My father was what they call a general smith.
Okay.
So he was the engineer of the day, and you know, you went into the blacksmith shop for everything.
And this was before BFBA was NAFB, which is National Association of Farriers and Blacksmiths
Correct.
Engineers.
Yeah, yeah, and he did his exam. My father. He became an RSS, a registered shoeing smith. So
Okay.
they wanted to make everybody regulated.
Right.
And so they did. And my father went and did his exam fairly locally in Northern Ireland. So the worshipful company would have a day and they would advertise it where they were going to set exams. And so what you did was you turned up on the day and you answered 3 questions for your theory and then you shod 1 foot. And if you made the standard, that was
Your
you,
RSS.
registered shoeing smith.
I'll be
And
dang.
so that's how it started. Yeah. So that was around about 1975. You know,
Okay.
so he did that around 1975. Yeah. So he's
So-
glad he did that.
So he died. You're 16, and when did you become a farrier?
So then I spent a year training just to do something as an engineer, mechanical engineer. So I went to college and it was great because mechanical engineering in Ireland, you learn how to weld, you learn how to, you know, fabrication engineering, you learn about milling machines, fitting, you know, so you learn about tools as well. And so it was and measuring and calculating. So it was a great tool to take away when finally I decided I was going on to be a farrier.
Did
So,
you have a hard time finding an apprenticeship?
the apprenticeships, yes. No, I didn't have a hard time finding it. I had a hard time getting into the school
Oh, why?
because they took on the school in Kildare, which is the Republic of Ireland. They took on 7 students every 2 years.
Oh man, small amount.
And so you had applicants up to about 90 applicants, right? And so what you did was they give you an interview. Everybody got an interview. And the interview basically was, 1-to-1, why do you want to become a farrier and blah, 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 all that sort of stuff. But then you had to do a little practical exam. And it was a case of watching the professional farrier make something on the anvil and you just had to copy that, you know. And so,
But you were good at that, huh?
well, I had some experience with it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I got on to the next stage, which was basically was called the assessment course. And so there was a maximum of 30 allowed on it. And so I was given the opportunity to. It's like a huge interview for 3 weeks.
Okay.
That's what it's like, right? But it's also like you could have been gone on the first day.
Okay.
So every day someone got kicked out.
All right.
So, we were in the forge there and we watched, the boss at the time was Martin Lee. He's still alive today. Martin's a great fella and a very good farrier. And I can talk about him later. But what he did was he made all these, artifacts, blacksmith artifacts.
So hook,
points,
chain,
hooks,
yep.
yeah, that sort of thing, And so what you did, it was, he used to say, monkey see, monkey do. So you watched, then you got your piece of metal, then you went to the fire and you produced your piece of metal. And then it was taken away and it was judged. And they went into a room and they said, right, okay, he can stay another day. He can stay another day. Okay. So every day from 30 right up to the 3 weeks, they were whittling them down to 7.
Wow.
So I lasted to the last day and there was 8 of us that were left. And 9 of us. And there was 2 guys referred. And I was one of the guys that was referred. So that meant that I had to go home and wait for a call.
Oh, man.
So I went back to the training centre where I was working as an engineer, and I was to expect a phone call at 1 o'clock at home on whatever date. And my mother, I rang my mother and I asked, and she says, "You got in."
Oh, man.
So, I mean, I remember the experience of doing that assessment course, and it was one of the most difficult things I think I've ever done.
And you were 18?
No, at that time I was only 17.
17?
Yeah.
The 17-year-old had to really put up, huh?
My podcast is not just about horseshoeing, but I've got a friend whose is Mullins Farrier podcast by Brian Mullins. Of course, he has got the most amazing voice. That's why he did the audiobook. But anyway, you should check out Mullins Farrier podcast. And he even has some scholarship deals for those of you that can't afford it. He's doing a lot for our industry and doing a lot to help youngsters and expose you guys to this amazing trade. Check out Mullins Farrier podcast. Tell Brian I sent you.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was really, when I look back now, you could not treat kids like that. You know?
Really?
It was there was no ventilation in the forge. You were working on a coal that was like very fumy, and there were people
Passing out,
passing out, and they were asking could they go outside, and their hands were blistered. Do you remember my hands blistered when I got here?
Yeah.
So it was a bit like that.
So, yeah, the first time you came from Ireland to Missouri in July.
In
or
July,
June.
right in the middle of the heat.
Hot.
It
and
was
we're getting
hot.
ready to go to Calgary together.
It was climate.
And you have Farrier hands, but the Missouri humidity got into your skin.
right in there.
And just ripped the palms off, didn't it? Right before we go to Calgary.
And your wife was treating my hands, and she was dabbing my hands with this stuff. I don't know what it was, but I was going,
I think it was mare urine.
oh.
No, I don't know what it was.
But it toughened my hands up.
Yeah.
It did, and I was able to go out and work the next day.
Yeah.
So he took the pain out of them. you
Yeah.
know. But yeah, getting back to the training in Ireland at that time, yeah. So it was seven students every 2 years, so it was quite hard to get into.
So now once you're in that course, that sets you up to get an apprenticeship.
That's you were 6 months in the school.
Okay.
Okay, learning to make shoes, and we were every Friday they bring in some horses, and so you got to trim a foot and you got to try and fit your own shoe, and that's how. And then what Board na Gobble did, and that was Irish for Irish Horse Board, so they were the people that employed us basically,
Okay.
right? And so what they did was they would try and get us an apprenticeship without us looking for one.
Oh, nice.
So we had 7 lads, and it was their responsibility to try and get us a farrier in Ireland to take us on,
Nice.
right? So I got to stay in the school that we were in. The guy that was working in the National Stud at the time wanted an apprentice, so I got to stay with Martin, which I was glad about because
And Martin was the main guy at the school?
he was the main guy that was teaching.
And so did he become your boss?
He became my boss.
All
Yeah,
right.
and we were still very good friends.
And you said you're going to tell some stories about him. Give us some
Yeah,
more
well,
stories.
Martin was Martin had a hard upbringing, and I could tell that, you know, and he came out of his shell. He came out of his shell,
Eventually.
you know, eventually. But you know, I was quite a gregarious young man, and I was keen. I was, you know, up for any bit of fun, and you know, I love sports, and you know, I love the fact that he was a great competitor. And that sort of got me interested in competitions, because it was him that got me interested in
Did he
competitions.
take you?
He took me to competitions, he did.
Oh, nice.
He did, and he often won himself, you know. And then some judges wouldn't have liked him, and they would put me ahead of him. You know, and that happened on a couple of occasions.
Well, you know, that's the thing about horseshoeing contests.
Yeah,
They are judged.
they are judged. Yeah,
And
yeah.
so it is one guy's opinion on one day.
Exactly, and you shouldn't take it too seriously.
No.
You
I
know.
mean, you know, and it's competitions are awesome, and I
Yeah.
loved them.
Yeah.
And I did it for almost 30 years, you know?
Yeah.
And I really lived for it.
Yeah,
And in the early days, I'd get my feelings hurt when I didn't win.
Yeah.
And in the later days, I was like, well, I didn't practice. I don't deserve to win.
exactly.
Or,
Yeah.
oh, I can't believe I won because I
Yeah.
didn't practice.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've lost competitions where I thought I should have won.
Yes.
But I didn't go and complain.
No.
I just took me oil and went home.
Yeah.
You know, I might have been a bit disappointed. It didn't perform well. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
That's life. You know, it teaches you something.
Yeah, for me, it became so much more about being able to get my mental game right for exams.
Yeah.
So competition helped me get through the AW and the FW.
Yeah.
And I was so lucky to get those my first try.
Right.
This last week, I took my commercial pilot exam,
That's fantastic. Yeah.
and it was hard. It was like a 5-hour test.
And you had to get everything right.
I had to get everything right, and it was and I'm 57 years old, so I'm an old man trying to learn with an old brain, you know.
Yeah.
And
Where's your son, Cody? He's like,
oh yeah, Cody, you show him and he
He's
goes
smart.
and does it better than you, right?
yeah, he's smart. Yeah.
But the thing was, if I hadn't had that experience in the contests, then I would have had a lot more trouble with the stuff I'm doing now.
Right.
Right.
yeah.
And so if you're a young person wanting to get the exams,
Yeah.
competition is key. I think
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
It's crucial. And a lot of youngsters don't want to compete.
To put yourself on the line and, you know, have someone else judge your work, it's a privilege, really.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, you have to be willing to lose and not think about winning. Just do your best.
Nope.
And if you think that you're going to win every time, then you've already lost.
Yeah.
You've already lost, you know, because you're going to get disappointed. You can be the best. You can be the best farrier in your local area, but when you put yourself in the world stage, you become a very small little man.
Oh yeah, it's incredible, huh? Well, you have 300 horses that you shoe. You have, let's say, 100 customers, and they all tell you how wonderful you are.
Yeah,
And their horses win, and their horses
Yeah.
stay sound, and
Yeah.
you know, pretty soon you're believing it.
yeah,
And then
Yeah.
you go to your first contest in the novice division, and they hand you your butt, and you're like, "I'm glad my customers didn't see that."
yeah. But
Also,
then there's the other thing about doing your exams. I mean, in Ireland, you didn't need exams.
right?
So
okay,
you
so
could-
explain that. So
Yeah.
you're part of the of the United Kingdom.
and part of the what?
The United Kingdom? Are you part of the UK?
Yeah, Northern Ireland is part of the UK. Yeah,
But you did not fall under the control of
the
horse company.
legislation.
Right. You didn't fall under that.
Northern Ireland doesn't fall under that. It's because
So why is that?
well, the reason for that is because it's got a different government that holds its own affairs. And so now that could change. There's stuff going on now at the moment that Northern Ireland could be legislated through
By
the
UK?
worshipful or through the FRC.
And are you fighting it?
Well, we don't think as a group of farriers in Northern Ireland that it's necessarily the right time for that. And the reason for that is because in order to put legislation in place, you've got to have infrastructure and you've got to have training. And the sort of training that we have at the moment is not a full apprenticeship. It's only what they call an upskilling course.
Okay.
So farriers that are out there working with no qualification come to us, and we upskill them to a level where they can go and sit the exam.
Okay.
So until we get something in place where there is, proper education for farriers in Northern Ireland, then we can look at legislating it. Because how are you going to police something, or how are you going to say to people, you can't shoe horses? What's going to happen to the industry if you can't train them?
Yes.
Well, you can't shoe horses until you're trained. Well, where can I get trained? Well, you'll have to go to England. Well, that's not necessarily the right thing. Now,
or even available.
Or it's not available.
There'd be a lot of guys that wouldn't be able to would never achieve farriery. If that's the thing.
Well, they might be older than 18 anyway, so they'll have to pay privately to get trained, and they'd have to be willing to have an apprentice training farrier, an ATF, to take them on.
And a lot of guys don't want to be ATFs because of regulations.
Right.
So what I think, I am very much against regulations and legislation. I want smaller government.
Yeah.
Because if you allow people to regulate, they will regulate.
Yeah.
And they will. So I've had a school for over 30 years. And we have something called an enrollment agreement. And on there it says something about within 3 business days. So this year they rejected my application for recertification because they wanted me to put in parentheses, excluding holidays and weekends. Well, what do you think a business day is, right?
Yeah.
So it has been like this for over 30 years.
Yeah.
And now some regulator, probably a 21-year-old out of college that has a degree in legislating, read the sentence business days and said, well, we should also put excluding holidays and weekends. But it is just a stupid little nothing that I have to deal with.
Yeah.
And if you're a farrier that allows regulation and legislation and oversight, then it might be okay in the first few years.
Yeah.
But 20 years from now,
Yeah.
they'll say, oh, you know what? We passed a law that you can only use this type of shoe, or you can only shoe with 4 nails, or maybe you can't use nails.
Yeah.
And so now you're regulated to the point where you're not actually able to do your job correctly.
Right.
In
How could
America,
you regulate something in America? This is a massive country.
the capitalist mindset regulates itself. If you're the best farrier and you can run the best business, you can shoe the best horses for the best customers.
Right.
And if you're average, then you can do these horses. And
Yeah.
if you're low quality, you can do these horses.
Yeah.
And so it regulates yourself. And the farrier that can't fit into one of those boxes,
Yeah.
now he can be a carpenter, or he can be a mechanic, or he can work
Yeah.
at Walmart.
And you see, the thing about, they talk about in Ireland, they talk about horse welfare, and they think it's a welfare issue.
Well,
Having
kinda.
untrained farriers. And to some degree, yes, it is, but I have yet to hear a report about an unqualified farrier destroying a horse.
For life.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so
and
you
the
might make
reason
them
for
sore
that
for a
is
day or two,
the,
but-
the reason I think for that is because of the introduction of the machine-made shoe, the quality machine-made shoe.
Right.
Because during my father's time, he had to make he would rather have made his own shoes rather than take them out of a bag. And I mean, the shoes that he was buying at the time were awful.
Oh yeah. So when I started, we had Diamond,
Yeah.
we had Satellites and Bronco plates,
Right.
and then St. Croix was just coming in, but they were generic. They weren't front, they weren't hind.
Right.
The first time I went to a contest, they had a pre-shaped shoe. I was like, my goodness, they discovered bread. How smart is this? This is, I don't even have to touch it,
Right.
And now the number of pre-shaped shoes, and what's really nice
Yeah.
is if you shoe warm bloods, you can find the pre-shape that's good for warm bloods.
Right.
You got quarter horses or
Yeah.
Arabs or saddlebreds.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that shape is being produced by a company somewhere, and it has helped horses
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
also taken away a lot of skill.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it just, I think that the fact that you needed the skill to make shoes pushed the handyman out. He hadn't the wherewithal to do it. You know what I mean?
No.
He would go, how was he going to build himself a forge?
So what do you mean the
going-
handyman? What's the handyman?
Well, a handyman is someone that's unqualified and thought he
Okay,
might
okay.
take up shoeing.
All right, so handyman is not a good term.
Handyman is not a good term.
Okay, all right.
All right. Not saying that some people are really clever and couldn't do it. Of course, some people are really clever and they can do it. But back in those days where you had to make shoes, that was another big ask,
Yeah, yeah.
to learn to make a horseshoe like.
Yep.
The geometry, we know what it's like to teach kids the geometry of a horseshoe. You know, you're trying to drum that under their
Well,
heads.
first you got to teach them to read a tape measure.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
There's some of that, huh?
That's right. That's right. And that's fair enough. Some people can't read a tape measure. There's other ways of teaching them.
Oh,
you
sure,
know?
sure, yeah.
You know what I mean? There's like, you know,
But some of the basic skills that you and I grew up with
Yeah.
are not there. You know,
Yeah.
or even some of the math.
Yeah,
So we're going to do 10.5 inches.
yeah.
And they're, so how do I know where the half is? Because it doesn't say
Right.
half.
Okay.
And, you know, so there is.
Yeah.
There
Yeah,
is
I get that a lot. And you
Yeah.
know, some people try and cover that up. You know, some
of course.
students try and cover that up that they can't accept, or they don't. They're afraid to tell you that
Sure.
they can't count.
But
That's okay. You know, but there's other ways of helping them. If you share the information, we can help you.
and
you know,
if they're willing to work.
and they're willing to work.
So it doesn't
Exactly.
matter with everything else that you can provide.
Yeah,
If they are not willing to stand behind the anvil,
yeah.
it doesn't matter.
No, that's right. Aye.
I had a student one time that came to school and I was learning how to play guitar, and he had taken lessons from a famous guitar guy.
Right.
And they were expensive lessons. It was like $150 an hour. And he said he went to his first lesson. And it was pretty cool. And he didn't really practice that week. He went back the next week, and he hadn't practiced. And the guy said, "How much did you practice?" He said, "Well, you know, maybe my finger's sore, maybe an hour." He says, "Well, you got to practice, you know, a couple hours a day."
Yeah.
And the third lesson, the guy said, "You know, you're not going to be a guitarist because you're not willing to put in your work."
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how well you're taught
No.
if you're not willing to stand behind the anvil.
And the conversation we had the other day about world champions,
Yeah,
you know, those guys are skilled. They're skilled to start with.
they're talented.
They're talented, but they put in a lot of work.
Absolutely.
The first time Grant Moon said to me, "Would you like to go to Calgary?" Because I think Mustad were
Putting a team together.
trying to promote it. So I said, "I think that's beyond me, you know, Grant." And Grant says, "Well, come over for a weekend. I'll show you what's involved." And I went in there to his shop, and had a pile of bar shoes there, another pile of bar shoes there, and he scared the life out of me because I thought, I'm going to Calgary and this is what I got to do.
Yeah.
And I mean, he was good,
Yep.
but look at the practice that he's done.
Yeah.
So it's no wonder Grant was 6 times world champion.
When I left Colorado, I took I had all my roadsters in this barrel,
Yeah.
and I had something like 500 pounds of roadsters.
Right.
They were crap, but I didn't have nothing to nail them on, you know.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so
Well, a lot of shoes we didn't bother nailing on. I mean,
No.
they weren't that type of shoes you were going to make for,
Right.
you know, a lot of bullshit shoes, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a quick break. We're
Yep.
gonna pee, and so
Yep.
we just leave everything running.
Okay.
So we were able to take a little break and let some coffee out. So
Yeah.
now I better put some more back in.
Yeah.
It is, I don't know, it's about probably 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm so blessed that I can drink coffee all day long.
No, you see, I can't.
No?
It keeps me awake. Yeah.
I can drink a cup of coffee on the edge of the bed and then start snoring.
No. My wife can do that too. She can drink coffee
And so I don't know if you guys can see this, but look at this cup. There is the podcast logo,
yeah.
Heartland logo on the other side.
yeah. They're there. They're very nice. I might take one of these home.
Yes, that's
Yep.
yours. 'Cause you already got your spit on it. You're going to keep it.
Heartland Horseshoeing.
So we haven't really talked about horseshoeing all that
No.
much.
No.
So tell us, what is it like to shoe horses in Ireland?
It's okay. It's okay. As far as getting paid goes, I don't think farriers in Ireland are paid enough.
And has it been like that since you started?
Yeah. Basically, yeah.
And you're 46 years into this business, right? Or 45?
About 45, yeah.
45 years.
Yeah, since training, yeah.
And what were you making to shoe a horse? The first horse you shod for pay,
15 quid.
and
That was
what year?
That was 1985.
85.
Yeah. My father, before that, in 1980, 5 years before, was charging £7.
In 1987, I got paid for my first horse.
Yeah.
$23.
$23.
And it's probably pretty close to 15 quid at the time.
Exactly.
Because 60 pounds was $100. So,
Right.
So 15 quid, you know, that would have been pretty close to 23 bucks.
Right.
I'll be dang.
And I remember the first horse I got, I had no car. So I got because I was so determined to shoe a horse for the first time for myself, I got a taxi to the girl's house, and you were exactly where it was.
And did you take a amble?
Took a little stall jack with me and a few nails, and knew the size. She measured the feet for me prior to going. We went there. Taxi man dropped me off, and I shod the horse for the lady. And not far from Cecil and Alexander's house, actually. You know, you mentioned that the lady that wrote that hymn.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
For the want of a nail that she was... No.
The hymn that I sung for you this
Yeah,
morning.
yeah.
Anyway.
All things wise and wonderful.
Yeah, that's right. And I remember then the lady ran me home afterwards, and she gave me 15 quid. And so that was the first horse I shod. Did my best. The horse was really difficult to shoe, but I was determined just to get it done. Just get it done. I mean, he pulled me around the place. He was a big Irish draft, and he just pulled me around the place, and I thought, you know, this is not going to get any easier. This is what I've got myself into, you know. But, you know, isn't it funny that when you get under a horse for the first time, you think to yourself, how am I going to do this?
Oh, yeah.
How's my body going to work here?
Yeah.
You know, this is not natural.
Nope.
This is a completely unnatural thing to do. Legs were like jelly. And, you know...
Everything hurts.
Everything hurt.
And it takes so long.
And you're so frustrated because you're not, you know, that nail just will not come out where you want it to come out. My boss taught me that. He says, no matter what, keep trying to get your nails on a line, and eventually, one day, you'll not even think about it.
Right.
And, of course, now we don't.
No,
you know?
no. Now you just send it.
Now, although you're going to take me shoeing on Monday, and you could see them all up and down like this.
They'll be musical.
My hands will be cold.
It is cold here.
It's cold out here.
So Missouri has some extremes of heat and cold, huh?
Yeah, so what is that there? 10 below?
It is probably something like that.
Yeah. I felt like that this morning going out, you know, and yesterday when we went out.
I think we were 10 degrees Fahrenheit this morning. And
Right.
so that might be even closer to 18 below for
No,
you.
there you go for us. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So it's pretty cold. Yeah. No, that was the thing about learning to shoe horses. I just thought I'd never get there.
So being a farrier in Ireland, does this make you middle class, top of the middle class, upper class? What's
I would say middle class.
right in the middle of it?
Yeah, right in the middle of it. Definitely not upper class.
So you can make a decent living, but you can't get wealthy.
I don't think so. I don't think you would get really wealthy at shoeing horses in Ireland unless you're shoeing abroad like I know some boys are.
And does anybody have like a company where they have several? What we call a multi-farrier practice, where they have like 4 or 5
they've
guys.
got some guys will have 2 or 3 guys working for them, but they'll not be a big company.
Okay, but is that with 2 or 3 vans as well?
And they would be lucky to have 2 or 3 vans on the road.
Okay.
But in England you would have more of that.
Okay.
You know, I mean, some guys will have 5 guys working for them, 5 vans on the road.
And do you have a lot of expenses for shoeing horses as far as like the worship company or your registration and stuff like that?
Yeah, I just don't pay the registration.
You don't?
I stopped paying it. I mean, I paid it for years and years and years. Unless, you know, just having your name on the register, that's the only thing it did.
For Irishmen, you don't need it.
You don't need it. So it was okay when it was like 90 quid. And then when they put it up to 340 quid or whatever it is now, we're paying for some guy to go to court, you know, and there just seemed to be more people going to court, and that's what we're paying for.
Right.
You know, so I thought there's no point in me paying that. You know, things that are happening in England, that's fine, but, you know, we're not benefiting out of it really.
Yeah.
You know.
And so when did you finally get your AW? So you missed the one when your mother died.
Yeah, my mother died in 2001, so I think it was either late 2001 or early 2002.
Okay.
Yeah, it was soon after she died.
Yep. Did you ever take your fellowship?
No.
No.
I just, you know, life took over for me then. You know, I just wanted to get my business going then after that, and, you know, do a few contests, and I focused on going to Calgary, and
Now, how many times did you top 10 in Calgary?
I think I always want to say 4, but I actually think it was 3.
Hey, this is your story. You tell it how you want.
I think it was 3. Yeah, it was definitely 3. And the first time was the best time.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You know, because you're standing up there with some of your peers, and you know, you put them on a pedestal, don't you? I mean, I've got a great photograph of, you know, Craig, Billy, Andy Martin, myself, and there's some great guys there in the top 10. It wasn't even in top 10. It was one of the contests during
One of the classes.
one of the classes, and just having that photograph, and we're all so young looking, and
Oh, yeah.
we're all smiling, and we've all got points.
Well, did you see the deal yesterday with the picture on my iPad? Cody's on my shoulders, right?
Right.
As a 2-year-old, and Craig
Right.
Trinka, he looks like he probably is 25, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But you know, winning something as a team is great because you share the experience.
Oh, yeah.
Winning a class yourself is great too, but when you share the experience with someone else.
Well, we've done a team or time or two with you and me.
Yeah, we got third in the
draft
4-man.
show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
With you, me, Bob Marshall, and
Dick Becker.
Dick Becker.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah. Dick. I haven't met Dick I met him, you know, when I've been back to Calgary, but I haven't seen him since.
Yeah.
You know, when I stopped going to Calgary, that was the last time I've seen Dick.
Yeah, I haven't seen or heard anything about him. in a
Or
long time.
Bob Marshall, for that matter.
Yeah.
You know?
I saw Bob. I went to Calgary when Cody competed the last time. I was a striker.
Right.
He said, "Dad, can you strike for me?" And I'm like, "Oh, son, I don't know."
Yeah. And then I went back one year with Andy Martin, and it's a funny story, and a lot of English guys will know this story. You're not allowed, in Calgary, you're not allowed to put anything on the anvil between
The steel and
the steel and the anvil.
Yes.
And at home, we were making tongs. Myself and Andy were making tongs. And Andy, at home, were practicing the tongs. And we didn't need to put this little nut on
Nut,
the anvil to put the hole through. We didn't need to do that.
So those of you that don't know, whenever you make a pair of tongs, you had to punch a round hole through the boss, and that's where the rivet goes.
Yeah.
And so oftentimes you'll put a nut on there, and then you can drive your stud punch
Yeah.
through the center of the boss through that nut, and it's an easy way to punch your hole.
Easy way to point, but you didn't need to.
No, you could do it over the edge of the anvil or
Yeah.
over even the hardy hole. If you had to.
Exactly. So we got the tongs finished, and I made the shoe with the tongs. Andy made a great job of the tongs, and Art Gilly came over and told us that we were disqualified.
And it cost him the world champion.
And it cost Andy the world champion. So Andy Martin,
They called that the
my-
$10,000 nut, you know?
yeah, my friend, and I hold him in the highest esteem. He's a great fella, very talented. He was a great jockey. He's a great horseman, and to me, he's a world champion.
Right.
He is a world champion. He was good enough. I never thought I was good enough, but he was good enough.
Maybe instead of for the want of a nail, the shoe was lost. It could just be for the want of a nut. The world championship was lost.
So Andy blames me, and I blame him.
Oh, really?
We get back and forth.
I thought it was
yeah.
all Andy.
No,
So who put the nut on the anvil?
Well, it was my job to do that because I was firing, you know. So
Okay. And so you practice at
so
home?
do we practice at home? So you do exactly what you do at home. So I have a photograph of me and Andy working on the anvil in Calgary, knowing it's still now there, you know, and it's forever still in my head. Every time I walk down the hall of my little house, I see Andy. But myself and Andy are great friends, and we, like you know, we're great friends. And when me and Andy get together, it's bedlam. You know, we enjoy ourselves so much.
And so he's not bitter.
Oh, not at all.
No, good.
Not at all. And
He's such a
Andy
sweet
walked
guy.
Andy walked away from that, and we went and got drunk that night.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, he's just so funny. You
Yeah.
know, he really is.
Well, he's such a nice guy.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
he's really a sweet person.
He really, really is, and you know, he and his wife as well, and they're just a great family, and they're great horse people. And at the moment, Andy actually has a very good racehorse, and I hope it goes well for him
Oh, no kidding.
because he's a racehorse trainer
Oh,
as
good
well
day.
as a farrier,
Huh. And is he still shoeing?
and he's still shoeing, and he's one of the toughest guys I know. Andy Martin is a great lad.
Yeah.
So that was that year at Calgary. I couldn't remember what year that was, but you know, we
That
both.
had to be 2002
Yeah,
or 3, huh?
yeah, could have been all right. But I remember one year I went to Calgary and didn't make top 10. And it was the last contest of the week. And I think it was the 2-man. It was certainly the second last contest anyway. And, you know, you have nothing to lose. Whenever you know you're not doing well, no points. Maybe I had 10 points or something like that, but I wasn't getting in the top 10. And in the past, you know, you could have won with one shoe and just
Right.
creeped in.
Yep.
But the 2-man, I don't know if the points went towards top 10 or not, but I was with another Irish guy called William O'Shaughnessy, and William also...
the Shaughnessy's are nice.
The
guys.
O'Shaughnessy's are great farriers.
Yeah.
Really, really great farriers. And two really, really nice lads. And myself and William got rookie that year, and I was really delighted for him. And I wasn't doing so well, but we had the 2-man to go on, you know, and we won the 2-man roadsters.
Nice.
And it was Dave Duckett that, and it's nice to have a judge that knows what he's doing. You know, it really, we all put Dave on a pedestal, don't we? Like me, he was a great forger, very talented, and we won the 2-man. We couldn't believe it. I mean, Billy and Jim were the roadster kings,
Right.
and I think they just overdid the cock and wedge, making the shoe very small, and my shoe was just more aesthetically pleasing, if you like, the right size of caulking and wedge. And I think that's what appealed to Dave Duckett. You know,
Yep.
I think it was just that it looked right.
Well, you know, at the end of the day, if you took the top 5 shoes at Calgary in almost
Yeah.
any class
Yeah,
and had the same judge look at it on Tuesday and look at it again on Wednesday,
right.
it might be
It might be different.
5th through 1st.
Yeah,
to be
absolutely.
opposite. So,
Absolutely. And
So,
yeah,
and as a judge, at a certain point, you guys say, "Here it is. I'm placing it. This is first. This is second. This is
yes,
third."
yeah,
And really, an argument could almost be made in any of those places
Yeah.
to move one up or down a little
yeah.
bit.
Well, it's funny you should say that actually, because Jim Blurton judged one year that I was there, and I think it was maybe the same year. Yeah, it could have been the same year that me and Andy went together, and we had to make a 3/4 fullered shoe out of 2 pieces, and it was a speed class. So I think it was 20-minute class, and Jim came out afterwards and he said, "There's 5 shoes in there, and you get them all together and you throw them up and catch one. That's how close they are."
Yep.
You know.
The speed shoe that I remember the best, I got second. Austin Edens beat me, but it was 2 pieces, 7 inches, 3 by 3/4, and you had to make a front shoe, 8 nails, and a toe clip in 12 minutes.
Right.
You remember that one?
That's tough.
I got second in that one.
You got
that,
second.
That year I got top 10, and
Good.
I was in 5th place for a couple minutes, and they pulled me off the floor because I was in 6th place by 0.5 point.
Oh, so you were on the floor to do the top 5,
Yep.
and they pulled you off the
They
floor.
had my horse. I had my steel cut. They were announcing it. Don Gustafs's voice is booming. And then Marshall comes over and says, "Hey, Chris,
You're out.
I'm out." So I never did top 5 at Calgary, but
Yeah.
But,
yeah. But you were close.
I was close.
Yeah.
But, at the end of the day, I couldn't list the top 10. I couldn't list all top 10 guys in any year.
Yeah.
And really, it happens every year. So
Yeah.
you can't be so
Yeah.
upset about it,
Yeah.
But
yeah. Because Calgary has a special place in our hearts. There's no,
It was
no
unbelievable.
question about that. I mean, the amount of friends that I met there.
and in the world before the internet, it's how you learned.
Yeah. And the guys that are out there now competing, they're competing at a high level.
Oh, yeah.
I know I couldn't compete against them now. You know, it's just moved on from that.
Yep.
I'm sure Grant probably thinks the same thing.
Maybe.
You get too old.
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
can't compete against these young guys.
No.
You just can't do it.
Well, there's a point in time where you're at your peak. Your
Yeah.
body is strong
Yeah.
and your knowledge is good.
Yeah.
And then at a certain point, your body starts going this way.
Yeah.
Your knowledge may continue to increase.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, you're no longer
You're not, no.
at the peak.
You're not sharp. You know, you hurt, can't see. You know, I have to make sure if I was to do any, even demonstrations, I've got to have my glasses on. I've got to have everything just right.
Yep.
You know, because I'm saying, oh, hang on, to get my glasses.
The
Hang on
eyeballs
to
are
get
the
my
worst,
glasses.
huh?
And, at home you can buy these cheap glasses in Walmart or whatever you call it, Asda or whatever.
Your version of Walmart.
Or version of Walmart, or you go into the chemist and you can buy these glasses right off the counter, and they're great. But I have 4 or 5 pairs lying everywhere, and they're all different sort of lenses on them. So I went recently and I got my proper glasses from
Eye doctor.
an eye doctor, and set me up nice. So I've got 3 pairs of glasses: one for driving, one for my work, and one for reading. So
Okay.
so I can see a little bit better.
But not contacts.
No,
Do
no.
you-
I probably contacts would be better working on an everyday basis. Out working with a horse. I've never tried them.
For me, the glasses, they get full of sweat.
Yeah,
Or they're
yeah.
in the wrong spot, so I'm
Yeah.
having to hold my head funny to see.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I'm not shoeing as much as I used to, so
Fair enough. Me neither. So anyway, you're going to talk about shoeing in Ireland.
Yeah, shoeing in Ireland. I guess every country has its things that they have to deal with, and I guess where I live, it's very wet, so the feet soak up a lot of water, and environmentally, it's not really that good for feet, particularly thoroughbreds. So it can be hard to manage sometimes.
Sure.
If it's a wet year, we run into some difficulties with thoroughbreds, and also just maybe individual clients.
So,
that maybe
so how do you deal? Do you have a method of dealing with super wet feet?
Yeah, well, you have to try and manage it. If a client wants their horse shod and the horse is not doing well, his feet are not doing well, you're going to have to say to them to bring the horse in, like maybe for the nighttime. Bring him in at night, let him out during the day.
So you
Give the-
manage it with the environment.
Yeah, you got to try and put them on shavings and let the feet dry out. Because if they're standing in water all the time, there's a lot of feet can't cope with that.
Right.
They just keep swelling, and the clinches come up, and before you know it, shoe's loose, and
Foot's collapsed.
yeah, and the foot collapses, and then you go to take off the shoe, and you think the foot's okay, and you go to take off the shoe, and the foot just peels away at the clinches.
Yeah.
So that can be a problem for a lot of farriers, particularly where I live, because it seems to be wet all the time.
Do you glue many shoes?
Do I?
Glue?
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah. So again, glue on shoe more expensive, and I explain that to my clients. I said, but you're going to be happy with the jobs because the modern materials now are absolutely fantastic.
The adhesives we have are amazing.
They are amazing, and I'll be going to the summit and I'll be watching these Easy Care shoes going on again. I've tried them 4 or 5 times. They're fantastic. They're easy to fit. That's why they call them Easy Care, and it's easy for the horse even because you don't have to hold his foot up for very long. You glue it on the ground, you wrap it, and it's done.
Have you seen the Hanton tabs?
No.
They're welded. They more or less go up the side of the foot, and there's a little like bubble on the side of the foot. You just squirt the acrylic in.
Yeah,
there.
well, these are the Easy Care are the same. They're little holes in the tab.
Yeah.
And you just push into each hole.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can see the glue
Yes.
moving in different directions.
Might be the same thing. Maybe it's the same name for.
It
different
could be. It could be. But it's a great invention.
Yes.
because-
Pat Broadus, I think. Do you know Pat Broadus?
No,
I believe he is the guy behind it.
he's the guy behind it. Right.
Yep.
Okay. Right. Well, back in the day, when I first heard that shoes could be glued on, that was around about, I don't know, was it maybe around 1990 or something like that?
1989, I went to a glue shredder clinic.
Right.
And I got my certification.
Right.
I was number 126. I have the card.
Okay.
And so you had to go to a seminar in order to become certified before they would let you buy the shoes.
Right.
And then to buy a pair of shoes was over $100.
Right.
And I'm getting like $25 to shoe a horse.
Right.
So I don't have anybody that's going to spend that on shoes. So I never got to use them in the world.
Right. Well, I'll tell you a story about glue-on shoes, and I had never even heard of glue-on shoes until I called a friend of mine, and Ken McLaughlin, who was in my class at school. He got a job with Ballydoyle, and that's the top racing people in Ireland. So he's shoeing classic winners, for Vincent O'Brien. And of course, the O'Briens had access to lots of different, probably, one or two farriers in America that they were bringing horses over to America to race. So they had access to, good farriers. And one particular farrier, I think, I don't want to say that, but an American farrier, I think it was an American farrier that taught Ken how to glue on shoes. And so then Ken was the first that I know of in Ireland to glue on shoes. And I rang him, we were just talking. And I said, I've got this terrible problem with one of my thoroughbreds. He's the best horse in the yard, but he's got the worst feet. And he said, Paul, glue them on. I said, what? Glue them on. He says, I'll show you. Come down. And so I travelled 5 hours or 4 hours, went down one weekend, hung out with him, and Ken made it look so easy, gluing on shoes. He did it in a stall with straw in there, and he picked up the foot, cleaned it out, wire brush, bit of alcohol. He had the shoe sitting on his box, one hand, put the glue on round, set it on. He didn't even wrap it. He just held it in his hand. It was warm enough, and on it went. And I thought, right, okay. And he gave me the glue. He gave me all the gear. And he says, now go home now and try it Monday morning. So I went in to shoe old Bluefire, who had won 10 races for us, that season. And his feet were like falling asunder. He just, and because they were turning them out as well, so his feet weren't coping well. And I think sometimes, horses that are training really hard, sometimes their feet suffer anyway, because, all the nutrients are going towards their heart and their, their skin, and maybe their feet are the last thing that gets all the nutrients. So his feet were falling asunder, and the trainer, who I didn't really get on that well with at the time, he says, that'll never work. And I said, 50 quid. So I glued on Bluefire's 4 shoes. I was covered in glue from head to toe. It was on my eyelids. It was in my hair. It was all over the place. But there was, the tube of glue was empty, but the glue they were on there. And they stayed on 7 weeks.
Oh, man.
And the trainer never gave me 50 quid either.
Oh, no.
No, he didn't. So that was my first experience of glue on shoes. But it was like a relief, that I was able to, for the first time, I was able to do something and, solve a problem where I didn't have to use nails.
Yeah.
And it was just aluminium.
Yep.
That's all you could glue on at the time. But, the stuff was toxic.
Mm.
And I was walking out of there and I was high as a kite.
Yeah, I have maybe glued on 10 shoes my whole career.
Right.
It's just not.
Not, no.
I mainly teach people how to do good, basic, solid shoeing.
Sure. Yeah.
And so, and I'm down to my last couple customers.
Right.
And really enjoying horses.
Yeah.
Really enjoying shoeing because I'm not having to grind.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
you find a way, don't you, of making a living as you get older. You change what you're doing. Maybe.
Well, I've been so blessed by that textbook.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so
the textbook's good.
So that has been, you're in the textbook. Your picture's in the textbook.
There's pictures in the textbook. First time I got it, I didn't know it was there actually until one of my students pointed it out to me.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. No.
Well, you gotta open the book to know it's in there.
Yeah, you gotta read it. Yeah. Anyway, the technology now is fantastic, and some guys are really good at that sort of stuff.
Yep.
And that shows you how Farrier has developed. Shoeing horses probably goes back about 2,000 years. But
yep. Shoeing them with
metal
nails.
shoe and nails.
Yep.
But this is, a new invention.
So
where's it going from here?
Who knows, huh?
Who knows?
Well, it'll be 3D printing, stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So would you do it again? Like if you were a young man, would you be a farrier now?
Yeah.
Me too, in a heartbeat.
Yeah. I think it's a job that, I think it's just deep in the Duddy psyche. I think it's...
If you're meant to be a farrier, you're meant to be a farrier, and nothing else would do, huh?
Yeah, and it's, being a family thing.
What would you do if you hadn't been a farrier?
Looking back now, I would have loved to be an actor
Really?
or a singer or
Now, you sing
performing
really well.
arts. You know, do something like that.
No kidding.
Yeah, I would have. I would have loved to have done something like that.
Did you pursue it at all?
I did a bit of stage, you know, musicals and stuff with my friend. He's a musical director,
Well, your singing's really good.
and did a bit of singing. Some of the guys listening to this are going to know that because they heard me sing at different competitions and stuff like that. You know, I don't mind doing that. But yeah, as you get older, your voice doesn't be as good as
It didn't
did when
improve,
you're
huh?
young. No, it doesn't. Well, you know, your voice is an instrument,
Of course.
and you have to keep it. You've got to use it. And I mean, I don't sing very much anymore. But when you're young, your voice is strong, but you
Yeah,
know,
but so are your
you can-
biceps. So are your eyeballs.
right? But
So are your knees.
you can train your voice to be stronger.
Yeah.
And so, you know, if you're singing a song, it's difficult. It's hard to sustain some of these notes. But you know, if you use your voice, you can sustain them. You know.
So what's your advice to young Farrier?
Just if you're going to be a farrier, you've got to love it. Don't do it because you know you think it's just a job and you might make some money at it. Don't make money the focus. You know, do it because you love it, and
If
the money
you-
will come anyway.
If you did this just for the money, you would hate it.
You would hate it.
Yeah, it's not that kind of job.
No, and I've heard a farrier tell that to me. He says, "I hate horseshoeing.
Yep.
You know, I like the money, but I don't like the horseshoe." So that's not good.
Yep. And factory work, there used to be factories in town, and there were a lot of people that had a factory job that hated it,
Yeah,
but they could get through it.
yeah,
And they could do that 8 hours a day.
yeah.
And but horseshoeing is not that way, I don't think.
Right. So it's like that film Good Will Hunting, you know, where the guy says, you know, in 50 years' time, I'm still going to be doing this stuff, building, you know, labouring to builders or whatever. He says, but you've got a talent, said the other guy, but you're too afraid to cash it in. And I mean, you know, he was out of his comfort zone, thinking that he would maybe have to do something else. But when he found out that he could do the talent that he had, then he was much happier. So do the thing that you're happiest doing.
Absolutely.
Try and pursue the thing that you're happier doing. And I find that farriers love the forge. If they love making shoes, because I think it's an integral part.
I do too.
I think it's an integral part of being a good farrier. I think you have to love that part of it.
And I think it also leads to longevity.
Yeah.
So I tell people that horseshoeing is a day of breaks.
Yeah.
When you're working on the forge, you have a break from the horse.
Yeah.
When you're working on the horse, you have a break from the forge.
Right.
If you are a cold shoer of pre-shaped shoes,
Yeah.
you're not getting that break
No.
where you go to the forge, you stand up,
Right.
you get to kind of stretch your back, you pull a clip, you work different muscles.
Yeah. But a lot of guys that, you know, out there is going to agree with me. It's like an art form, shoeing horses. You know.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, you don't.
Everybody has to agree with that,
I
Paul.
think that the only people that understand that are the people that really love and you know make shoes and put them on feet. I think that they're the people that really understand what that is. I mean, whenever I look at some shoes that are made online, like your son's shoemaking is really, really fantastic. I just could never have been that good, you know.
Yep.
And when I look at Craig Trinke's work, I could just never be that good. These are people that love what they do.
So I've been on teams with Cody many, many times.
Yeah.
And in the final years, when we do a 4-man, he would come look at my hoof prep and he'd say, Dad, just hit it there. Dad, just do it. And I wouldn't even see it.
No.
And I wouldn't even know what he's wanting me to do. I would just do it.
Yeah, just do it.
And
Yeah.
and it would give me a whole point or something, you know?
Yeah, I think there's definitely different levels to that. I mean, you know, I go back shoemaking now. If I had been out of it for a couple of weeks or a month or 2 months for whatever reason, you know, I go back to it and you feel rusty.
Oh, sure.
And you make a shoe and you think, oh, that's not bad. But then you make another one and it's better.
Hmm?
And then you think to yourself, this is what you've got to do if you want to be good. I try to get it in.
If you have good techniques and know how to use the horn,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
it comes back pretty quick.
It comes back pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you have bad technique and you're on the mystery tour, what Bob called the mystery tour,
Yeah.
then it's all by feel.
Yeah.
And you lose that feel very fast.
Yeah, and you know, being a Farrier, a competitor over the years, you learn so much every time you go to a contest. You know, you learn by looking at other people and how they manage the fire, what heat you need to do a certain thing in.
Yep.
Like I watched Craig Trinker or one of the guys at the one contest one time in America. What was that second contest we went to? It was the
We went to convention together.
convention. And,
Yep.
and I watched a couple of guys making those set of shoes. Is that the
Like we had the journeyman class would be
journey-
4 shoes.
right?
Yep.
That one, right?
2 pair.
And he made the shoes without getting them very hot.
Yep.
And at the end, they were clean.
Right. And they're in gas fires.
Yeah, and they were in gas fire, and they were clean, and they were well forged.
Yep.
And you know, I hadn't figured that out,
Right.
and I was trying to show my students what I'd learned and those things, you know, with regard to those things. I said, sometimes you don't need to heat the steel,
Right.
you know.
You'll
Look at
see a
this
lot of
piece of
people-
concave, you know, 7838. It's a light piece of concave, or 3/4 or 3/8.
Yep.
You know, you don't need to get it hot.
Yep. And you see a lot of people in the journeyman test, the actual exam, that will cook their shoes because they can't stay ahead of the forge.
Yeah.
And so they'll try to put 3 pieces in or something, and there's just no way to stay ahead of that forge. So they end up with so much scale, or they burn their nails, or
So I tell my students, keep the shoe out of the fire.
Yep.
Don't think you have to rush. You're going to catch up. Don't think that you have to. You know, you're going to look at your shoes if you've got them in the fire, and they're going to look terrible, and you're going to feel terrible because you know you've lost it.
Yep.
You know, so keep the shoe out of the fire until you're well enough schooled in yourself to know it's time to leave this and go to this.
Well, forging is not just swinging a hammer.
No,
There's
so much to it.
Yeah.
There's so much to it. And some people have it down pat. Some people have it down pat. They know, they understand. I mean, Stephen Beam, whenever I look at him in a contest, he's focused on the anvil, but he's got his eye on the fire. Mm-hmm. Because you only have to watch him. He's turning around, he's turning his head. You know, he knows exactly the time to go and get that piece of steel. And that is fire management, and it's credible.
You should watch Cody.
And again, it'll be the same thing.
It is at such a different level.
Yeah, and I'll tell you another guy that was excellent at that was Richard Ellis.
Oh yeah.
Richard Ellis.
He worked in my shop one time.
Did he?
Yeah.
Richard Ellis was
The Iceman.
the Iceman, and Richard was not really interested in making money.
Nope.
He was a craftsman in all sorts of ways. He could.
He could see shoes.
Yeah.
So
Well, I think he taught. I mean, they called it the Dream Team. The Wheels, Billy, and Jim, and Andy. They called it the Dream Team, and it's no wonder because you know one of those guys. I think it was Billy. Maybe have said to me that Richard teaches how to make those shoes. Yep. You know, if they're difficult, he shows how to make them.
There had that diagonally weighted bar shoe. Remember that one?
Yeah.
And he was telling me about, well, all you got to do is if you just unroll it, you can see there's a piece of bar stock. You know?
You see all the shapes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well,
Yeah.
man, well,
Yeah.
maybe you can. Yeah,
he had a vision. He could, and the thing I loved about Richard was I always went to Richard after a contest and I said, come and critique me work, you know, and he would just tear it to bits, you know, but I could take it from him.
Oh yeah, because
I could take it from him, you know, because I said, I get you, I understand.
Yeah, well, some guys have the vision, and so that's what Cody started making. He made his first shoe when he was 4, and so he was able to train his eye at such a young age.
Yeah.
And that's why he sees things in shoes and feet that I can't see.
Yeah.
And I'm all right with that. I mean, it's just what it is.
Yeah.
But it's also why he got honors.
Yeah.
You know, and so if you look at the job, it was magic.
Yeah.
But you couldn't really say it was because of that or because of that or because of that. It was because of all of it was.
It's the difference in putting it, you know, whenever you're fullering and you put it a millimeter just inside the line.
Right. Right.
That's the difference. Only a millimeter.
Where your fuller ends on the medial versus the lateral.
Yeah. You can't teach that.
You can.
Well, you can't teach it to some people.
Right.
Right. You can't teach it to some people. I mean, I've had students in the past, and maybe a bit older, and they've done a bit of shoemaking, and then you try and teach them, you know, those fine points, and they'll get to a certain level, but that's where it will end.
Right.
You know, you've showed them how to finish, and you know, Grant talks about coining a shoe when he's finishing it.
Yeah.
You know, that's something to be taught.
Yep.
You know, it's just not something you know, how do you do it, like, you know? So there's a way of doing it. And, you know, you understand the heat, you understand how to hit it, you know, you understand how to overlap the hammer.
Yep.
You're not skipping from
Yep.
there to there to
Yeah,
there.
it's not one skill.
It's not, you know, so there's so much to learn. So I would say to young people, if you're thinking about becoming a farrier, you're gonna have to like. I say you're gonna have to like the forge.
Oh,
you know, and I'd say to students that come in, because we run an upskilling course, not a full-time course.
And you're the head of that, right?
I don't see myself as the head of it. I see myself as a partner and another guy that Caelan Kelly, who's one of our new instructors, and he's so clever. He's got a great engineer's brain. He can see things also.
And is this a school owned by Ireland?
It's by the government.
Okay, by government.
Yeah,
right.
by the government. So it's semi-state, if you like, in that the students pay some money, but the government pay for most of the course.
Okay.
You know, so it's you know it's a great thing, but teaching guys that have lots of bad habits, it's hard to, you know, you're going to get to a certain level with them, and that's going to be it.
Yep.
You know, because I try and focus on young people that I see that maybe are interested in the forge. They love the forge work, and I can see that they might go on and do something
Right.
a bit more. So I would maybe spend a bit more time with them and say, well, do you really want to see this?
Yep.
Do you want, you know, and up the ante a bit for them. You know, give them something. They think they've caught you making shoes, and then you do something. You're not quite there yet. You're not quite there yet. You know, you're like making a shoe in one heat. You know, they'd never seen that before. I'd never showed them until maybe you're pushed to it.
Right.
You know, it's not blowing your own trumpet. It's just, but listen, guys, this is what you can do.
Yep.
You know, we used to have a one heat shoe, you just concave shoe. You know, and it was quite a fun thing to do because you know some people had never done it before.
Would you crack the toe, do the heels, and then bend it? Or
Crack
would
the toe, do the clip, half pull the clip,
Right.
do the heels, bend the two branches together, put in the nail holes, pull the clip last.
Yep.
That's the way I do it.
Yeah.
But at Billy's competition, I remember Andy won a one heat shoe and it was 3/4 fullered. I still don't know how he did it. Still don't know how he did it, but he won it. I was, you know, do you remember that picture I showed you yesterday of the three guys?
Your grandfather, your
Can
uncle.
you show the guys that picture at some point? Can you add it to this?
We can try. All right, so we've had a little search on Paul's phone to find this picture.
Jimmy was a real character, and my family worked for sort of landed gentry, who were called the Herdmans, and they're quite, you know, very upper class people, and Jimmy liked to drink. He liked to go into the bars after work, and anyway, one day he came out of the bar, and Mrs. Herdman, Lady Herdman, they called her, was walking along with her little dog, a little, you know, lap dog. And this sort of stray dog came out of nowhere and started to jump up on the little dog and try and mate with it, you know, and she was going crazy. And Jimmy happened to be walking out of one of the bars on the bridge end, and he was walking over, and she recognized Jimmy from being working, you know, out in the yard. And she shouted to James, James, get him off, get him off, get him off. And James went like this. And the dog took off. He put his finger up the dog's ass. And the dog took off down the street, and he said to Mrs. Herdman, that's Murphy's dog, Mrs. Herdman. He could give it, but he couldn't take it. And that is a true story.
Oh my gosh.
He was a real character.
Did she appreciate it?
She appreciated it. The dog took off down the street.
Oh man.
So that's one of the funny stories.
Did he live longer than your dad?
He did actually a few years longer than my father, yeah.
So
Yeah.
did he have a big influence on you?
Maybe my uncle? No, because I don't remember him as a farrier.
Okay.
No, he stopped long before.
How about as a person? Did he influence you?
Yeah, he was because he had such a great sense of humor. You know, and the Duddys seemed to have a good sense of humor. Whenever I talk to my cousins, and you know, all my cousins are a lot older, because my father married late in life, so therefore my cousins are a lot older. But when we
Well,
get
you kind
together,
of did the same, huh?
yeah, yeah, exactly. It's sort of a trait, isn't it?
Yeah.
But whenever I talk to me extended family, you know, and you could be, you know, third cousins, second cousins, but you feel they're part of the family, and you see the sense, you can hear the sense of humor, and the same laughs, and we enjoy the same things. You know,
Right.
yeah. So it's a huge family connection,
Yeah, yeah.
and we're all over the place. You know, my wife's fed up saying that, oh, that's my cousin now.
Who cares, huh?
She stopped, you know, trying to get to know them because there's so many of them. She couldn't possibly get to know them. I mean, sometimes I forget some of their names, you know, but
Well, that's good.
yeah, but there's a huge. That's why I'm so. I guess that's why I'm so sort of drawn to where I live, is because, you know, I can go to a gravestone and look 1850, and that's my great grandfather. And it says blacksmith on it. So yeah, I've kind of, it's an integral part of me.
Right. So
You know?
you couldn't be you in Brazil.
Well, you know, maybe if I look back, and I don't look back that much, you know, or regrets or anything like that. You know, I did what I did, and that's what it is. But I suppose what I know now, I would like to have travelled more and maybe worked in a different country. And I have no doubt that I would have come back to Ireland. I have no doubt about that.
You're Irish through and through.
I'm totally, yeah. And I enjoy the Irish people.
Yep.
I enjoy the Irish people. I enjoy their humour. I enjoy the fact that they, you know, if you break down on a motorway, someone will stop.
Yep.
If you break down, you know, 10 miles from home, you can call somebody.
Yeah.
You know, I just feel that, you know, and I would do the same. You know, I'll give you an example of that. I mean, me and my wife were coming across the border the other night, and it was really heavy rain, and I noticed
So what border?
the Irish border.
From Northern Ireland?
Northern to Southern Ireland. I'm right on the border.
And you live in Northern Ireland?
And I live in Northern Ireland. So we're right on the border.
And is this a border with passports?
No.
It's just
No.
a road.
It's just a line.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and there's no line there, but we know the line.
Right.
You know? But I noticed this old lady, she was stopped on the side of the road, and she was holding her hands up, and she was waving to every car that went past. Well, I knew there was something wrong, because that's what I just knew from experience that this lady needed help. So we pulled in, the two of us, and she was so funny, you know, and I said, what's happened? Oh, I came across the roundabout and I hit the wheel off the roundabout and I went scooting over and I crashed under there, and she was okay, you know, but she couldn't get the car off the road. So I got in, and the car was done, you know, it was busted up and the wheels were turned this way, and I managed to still drive it off the road for her. And then I said, well, where do you want me to take you? He says, take me out to my sister's house or my son's house. Do you know my son? My son is such and such. And I didn't know her son, you know. But she, you know, what's your name? She said, what's your name? I said, I'm Duddy. What Duddy? I said, do you remember the blacksmiths? Yeah, Patsy Duddy. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's all right. Right, okay, you can run me out now. So she wanted to know who it was before she got into the car. And once she knew who I was, that was it.
Everything's
And
good.
so that was the nice thing. That's the nice thing about living in a small community, that, you know, even though there's lots of other people coming through the town, you know, there's a community spirit there. I don't know where that comes from. Maybe it's because at one time in Ireland, everybody was kind of in the same boat. We were all sailing in the same ship. Nobody had any more money than anybody else, and we were, you know, dealing with the troubles.
But you're not now.
Well, we're not now, you know, I mean, but still there's still that feeling of, you know, belonging in a town that, you know, everybody knows everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and there's gossip. You're going to have that in every town.
Sure.
You know, but whenever she got out of the car that night, she threw £10 over the seat so that I would get it, you know. And I just thought, you know, it's not about the money. You didn't need to do that, but she wanted to do something.
Sure.
you know, and she struggled to get the money out of her pocket. And I was wondering what she was doing. So you know, you don't understand, like, what's she doing? You know, and you're just giving her time because she's an old woman. She threw the money across the seat. No, I don't want it. Buy yourself a drink. And that's what I love. That's what I love about where I live. You know.
Well, I'm gonna have to come see it someday.
Oh yeah, you definitely will. And you know, come up to the golf club and meet my friends.
We came so close to going. I had to speak at the Farrier Focus a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And it was much more of a ordeal to get to Ireland than I thought it would be.
Yeah. It's an expensive stretch of water, and then you know, it just doesn't always work out with flights and you know, timing, because you're coming over for a certain length of time. You have things to do. You have clinics to do. Sometimes you just have to organise that trip.
Yep.
And say, I'll come to Ireland.
Yeah, we'll have to do that.
Yeah, and I'm not doing anything else when I'm there. I'm just going to come and see Ireland.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, every American that I spoke to this week,
they want to see Ireland.
they want to see Ireland.
Yeah.
You know,
Ireland is a bucket list place for a lot of people.
It's a beautiful country. It's got a lot going for it. It is very green.
Yep.
You know, it's
pretty welcoming to tourists, huh?
Oh yeah, I mean that is what people want. People want the tourists to come. It helps the economy. You know, and especially in the touristy areas. You know, and of course, you know, Ireland has a lot of ancient history as well.
Sure.
So there's things to see.
Yeah,
you know, some of the buildings go back. You know, some of these old castles go back maybe 1,000 years.
I know.
You know, so it's really, really old.
Yeah.
And there's some lovely places, and some coastal towns are really beautiful. And you don't need a lot when you're there, because you appreciate the surroundings that you're in. And the music. I mean, Irish people love to play music, and you know, you can go into a bar and listen to the Irish music. And I was saying to you about, you know, how Irish immigrants came to America, and they went into Pennsylvania, and some of them went into the hills, and they farmed where they could farm. And this is where the name Hillybilly comes from. Remember I was telling you that yesterday, because William of Orange was, you know,
Bill.
Yeah, they supported William of Orange, and so these Irish Protestant people that could afford to come to America to seek their fortune, they could afford to get on those ships and come, and they had some money with them, and they could set up some sort of holding or buy a stake in a piece of land. And often they did it in places where maybe nobody else would go, and that's where the word Hillybilly comes from. You know, but you can imagine how many. I mean, 1 million Irish emigrated after the famine or during the famine. So America is also an integral part of us, because you know, we have Irish. More Irish in America than there is in Ireland.
I know.
There's only 5.5 million people live in Ireland.
Okay.
There's only...
And how many of those are Irish, or are there a lot of immigrants?
No, I would... Yeah, I mean, I'm talking Irish.
Okay. So there's 5 million Irish.
I'm pretty much talking Irish.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe more now because of immigrants.
How many Irish live in America, I wonder?
Well, where do you stop with generations?
Right. And so, yeah, maybe a person is a quarter Irish, they still call themselves Irish.
Yeah, and I mean, every second person you talk to, you know, if I talk to in America, they'll say, well, I think my grandfather was Irish, you know, and that's nice. It's nice because, you know, maybe they were forced to go, maybe they wanted to go, maybe there wasn't enough at home for them, maybe they had this adventure thing in their head, but we called them the coffin ships that left from Derry.
Yep.
And it was I think it was 3 weeks, and they were confined to their bunks underneath the ship, and they weren't allowed to move. So it was pretty tough. It was a pretty tough journey for them. And they were already poor, and they were getting off the ships in New York.
And getting treated horribly.
Yeah. And a lot of them had to either join the Union.
Didn't they build the railroad from the east to the west? And they met the Chinese from the west, coming from the west to the east?
The Irish definitely did a lot of work. I mean, the Irish built the motorways of England, and they built the great railways of England, because, you know, there were labourers and there were workers.
Yeah.
You know, And that endless songs are sung about that.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? Endless songs that people sing. There's one particular guy sings about. Lots of guys sing about immigration, but there's one guy from our town. His name is Paul Brady, and he's a very famous songwriter, singer, and he talks about you know, how he was treated whenever he went to London. You know, and one of the things that he said in his lyric is, when the wine seeps through the when the wine seeps through the facade, it's nothing but the same old story. So what he was saying was that, you know, the people at the time didn't trust the Irish. You know, they drank a lot, but they worked hard. And that is one thing that I do know that they did. But the Englishman didn't trust them. So even though he was friendly towards them, whenever everybody got drink on them, they would end up quarrelling, you know. So when the wine seeps through the facade, it's nothing but the same old story.
Yep.
And he in the song he also talks about, you know, I have a cousin in Boston, and he said he'd send me on the fair. He wrote me a letter. He says he's cleaning up out there, and he's got 2 cars in the driveway, a summer house way down in the Cape, and he set me up in the morning. So, you know, there's that feeling, look, well, should I go? You know, because everybody's going, you know.
Yep.
And these songs are constantly sung about immigration and, you know. So that is the sort of thing that I love about Ireland, you know, how that has developed, you know. But also the Irish is a kind of poor me as well. You know, we've suffered a lot. We've suffered a lot. And so their music can be quite sad. But you've heard of Riverdance.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
Well, you know, this is something that is really special, because Riverdance was developed not from just Irish music, but from European music. So it was the brainchild of guys that went over just wanting to play music in different countries, and then seeing someone else play or listening to their type of music, maybe in Afghanistan, God knows where, you know, France, Spain, Italy, and they were playing music in bars and then listening to how their traditional music went. And I mean, a big culture in Germany is Irish music.
Really?
Really big culture of Irish music.
Is it Irish music with German lyrics?
No, they'll sing it with
English?
yeah, English, yeah. But, you know, I remember a funny story, actually. I went to judge a competition in Germany. And in the evening time, they took me out for, you know, the traditional meal that we all have. All the Farriers get together and we have a bit of fun. And there's this Irish band set up in the corner. And I thought, is this in honour of me? But I was assured that, no, there's a big Irish culture of music here.
I'll be dang.
You know, so there you go. And I didn't know that myself.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
pretty cool.
So Ireland is where my heart is. There's no doubt about that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Paul, you know, we've talked for quite a while. I may have to break this into 2 episodes.
Yeah. Chris, it's been fun.
It has been amazing.
Yeah, and I want to thank you just on this podcast for welcoming me into your house.
Oh, hey, it's been a pleasure to have you. It's not the first time, huh?
Really good.
Yeah, so you stayed with me before I had this farm. You stayed with me twice in my old house.
Yeah. No, it's been good. It's been good, and I'm glad that I made the journey. I hate traveling in the wintertime so far.
Yeah.
Because I knew what was going to happen in Chicago, but oh my God, I'm so glad I came to see you.
Yeah, whoa, we had some fun already.
Yeah, we had some fun.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So we did some flying yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
Like that, okay?
And I had you know, I sent a couple of pictures home of, you know, on the plane, and there was one particular guy, one of my friends, he's so jealous. He said something bad about it. But you know, the Ozarks, he said, they're not even mountainous. This looks flat, but it does look flat from the sky.
Sure.
When you're 15,000 feet up or whatever it was.
Yeah.
How high were we?
We were 3,000 feet.
3,000 feet up.
Yeah,
well,
yeah, so
whatever.
we-
yeah,
yeah, we were
that's a long way up. You know, you don't want to fall from that height.
No, you wouldn't. no. No, but you also wouldn't want to parachute from that low because it's too close to the ground.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. No, and so if all goes well, we'll fly that plane to Cincinnati,
Okay.
and then we'll be at the Hoof Care Summit for a few days.
And that's another adventure.
Yep.
Yeah, that's another adventure. So
And,
I'm looking forward to that. There'll be a lot of guys there, I know, and I hope to see some of you guys at the Hoof Care Summit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, brother, it's been an honor.
It's been great.
Hey,
Yeah,
thank
it's
you,
been
my friend.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
All right.